Good morning, guys. Good morning. We here for the watch along Arsenal versus Newcastle. What did I say? Newcastle versus Tottenham Hotspurs.
Tottenham Hotspurs sits in eighth position and can move right up to the fourth position with a win, meaning they will have 21 points, 1 point better than Crystal Palace. No extra move.
So, where are you guys actually watching from? Where are you watching from? The North London Derby. Let's go ahead and share. Drop some comments. Where are you watching from? Who are you rooting for? The game actually started. And for those, it's on Peacock. The game is actually on Peacock. Yep. So let's go ahead and check out the lineups of both teams. Let's see if I can pull it up. Where's that lineup? So as we know, Tottenham has actually opted for a back three. You have Danso, Romero, and Van de Ven. Visario is actually at goal. Then they have your wing backs, your right wing back, which is Spence. Udogi as left wing back. And then you have Bentaco and Paulino as the double pivot in that system. Udogi, good job right there. Then strikers, kudos to the right, Richarlison down the middle, and Odegaard to the left. Meanwhile, Arsenal has gone for the traditional 4-3-3. Fiori, Hincapi starts for the injured Jesus. That's going to be interesting to watch how those two actually play. Arsenal on the attack right now. Woo! Almost scored. Almost scored. This starts fast for Arsenal. The back four for Arsenal, first time lined up like that. Fiori, Hincapi, Saliba, Timber in the midfield. Of course, you have that solo pivot, Zubimendi, Declan Rice. Then you have Eze, Saka, Merino, and Trossard up front. So that's how it's going to be for Arsenal. Arsenal almost scored here. They have their first corner. Of course, as you guys know, Gabriel injured, not playing this game. Yep. So we're just a little bit over 3 minutes into the game. And this is going to be interesting because this might have title implications with 7 points. I mean, with the win, Arsenal go 6 of Chelsea, 7 of Manchester City, and 9 of surprise team in there, which is Crystal Palace. So as I said, the game is actually on Peacock for those here in the United States. So let me see who's on the bench for Arsenal because it was announced that there's some players actually coming back from injury. Let me see who's on the bench. Norgard. Oh, Madueke is back. He's on the bench. Madueke is back. He's on the bench, but I don't expect him. Odegaard still on injury list. Kai Havertz still on injury list. Jesus, of course. Nieles and Jokeres still on injury list. So while without the ball, Tottenham is actually defending with five at the back, because they decided to go with that three-man central defense, you know. So if they don't actually have possession, if they cannot come out from that defensive positions that they actually are, like right now, you're gonna see Tottenham defending real deep with five men at the back. That's something you have to watch. And protecting the ball for Arsenal will be key in this encounter. Because if you can protect the ball, it means if Tottenham actually sits too deep, you can protect the ball. You can actually have them for long amounts of time just sitting deep. So let's see how Spurs, because they're a team, they like to move the ball like from the back. They will try that, and let's see how the press, how Arsenal actually presses. It will be actually very important to see. And I also want to see that combination, Hincapié with Saliba. That's a combination we'll be seeing for the first time. That could be offside. Yep. So who you guys rooting for? Where you watching from? Man, I feel sorry for Ben White. Ben White, he hasn't had much chance, this season. Of course, we all know why. When you have a guy like Timber playing, Timber is just a better player. So we are seeing a lot of long balls from Tottenham so far. We've seen a lot of long balls because they're coming out from deep. They're using Richarlison as a target man. So it will be interesting to see how he actually his hold up play. If his hold up play is actually good. Oh wow, that's a that's a tough challenge by Van der Ven. The hold up play of Moreno also will also be visited. Ooh, okay. This is gonna be a tough one. You see how physical Tottenham wants to make it. They want to be physical with Arsenal. Make it a fight. You know, because that will actually favor them if they can make it, a fight. Oh, look at positioning that Timber just took. Odogi, is that instant pressure by Arsenal? Yep. So far, just 8 minutes, still 0-0, but it's all Arsenal. It's all Arsenal. That's the second time Timber is making that run. And he's actually getting in. Tottenham has to watch out. Good block by Romero. What is he screaming for? Oh, what's he screaming at? I don't know. Instant pressure. Ooh, I don't like such passes. You give such passes in the middle of the field where you have a lot of players in that middle. You lose balls, giveaways over there. It could be actually very dangerous. I think that's gonna be the good outlet. Using kudos, he's very elusive with the ball. Okay, drawing fouls and stuff like that. So that will be a good outlet, for Tottenham as they try to get out from defensive positions. You know. So that's the actually the depth in squad that I've been talking about, and let's see how it actually works out for Arsenal. Starting another central defender. Who scores the first goal? Oh, a coffee's almost gone. Paulinho. Oh, Arsenal player is down. Let me see. Oh yeah, that hurts, and it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold. So when you get stepped on the foot with a boot, that hurts so bad. You know. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. But this seems to be okay. So there's still one game tomorrow. Manchester United actually plays tomorrow. Yeah. Yep. Paulinho and Bentacore, they will have lots of work to do today. You know, protecting that back line, protecting the back four. Long throwing situation for Arsenal. Look at their positioning where they're standing. Okay, they go backwards. Good defensive work by Kudos. Ooh, poor clearing. That was a blow. That was a sloppy clearance. He's lucky. Yep. So as I said, it's gonna be difficult for Tottenham to actually get out from their defensive structures, and that's something that they need to work on. Outlets like Kudus, but this time around, he was deep down in his own, half. So I didn't expect nothing much, but of course they ended up getting a goal kick, which is actually some relief for them. But they are going long balls. The second balls actually, falling so far on Arsenal. But anytime they have an opportunity, maybe commit a foul, slow down the game, okay, that will actually help them, trying to get out from those defensive positions. So that's something we need to look at. And then look at their strategy. When they have these free kicks, look at the goalkeeper coming that far. Remember last game where Arsenal drew with Sunderland? You remember the free kick? So they're taking a they trying Tottenham is trying to do the same here. Goalkeeper comes in long free kick. Okay. That's a comfortable save. The goalkeeper picks it up. So Arsenal can now, move the ball. So these things is gonna be key because the advantage when the goalkeeper comes out, to make such long free kicks is that you have a lot of men, in the box. You can push a lot more players in the box as opposed to having, you know, an infield player trying to take the free kick. So that's one of the advantages. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that was a dangerous play. But I think the ref has given an advantage, but that's a dangerous play. That's a yellow card, ref. Oh my goodness. I, I think Michael Oliver, I mean, the way he started the game, he's allowing some things to go, but that was a dangerous. That could easily win them, like, that could easily be a yellow card because that was a very dangerous play. Yeah. So free kick for Arsenal. Is Saka on the ball? Let's look at. Okay, you see, they are the second end of the post now, making that run, and then Saka whips. He's going for goal. That was a good try. However, the ball did not get enough deep. So the game is actually still cagey, in my opinion. Arsenal is trying to push forward, but no, you know, clean opportunities here. Tottenham, counting on free kicks, wasting time, slowing the game. This is all like a strategy, right? That Tottenham is trying to use. They're slowing down the game. They're letting the goalkeeper. This is the second time the goalkeeper is actually coming, for these long free kicks, and they're going towards the end, you know, the second post, Arsenal Trossard chasing, putting pressure like on Spurs defensively, you know. So I mean, it's a strategy for Tottenham. Tottenham wants to slow down the game and then try to test Arsenal on counterattacks. I mean, on free kicks. Time wasting. Kudus is very difficult you know, to destabilize when he's fighting for the ball. He is always like coming out, he looks like the one's always coming out, when they're in a tussle, for the ball. He's coming on top. You know. I think it's going to be important. Eze has to actually play good in this game. It's one of those good games. He has to come on top and make good decisions, be creative. This is one of those games where he has to actually, put down his mat. Ooh. Yep. Yeah, that's Bentacon, Paulinho. That's a little bit too much. Michael Oliver. Yep. At least the ref is being consistent. He's letting some physicality. He knows that it's a derby. 65% possession for Arsenal against 35 for Spurs. Of course, Spurs is letting Arsenal have the ball, and they want to slow down the game as well. And we see the strategy, the goalkeeper coming to take those long free kicks. You saw the success Sunderland had, but again, you have to win those second balls. I think this right-hand side of Arsenal, That's where they can actually have some, some success. But the combination between Eze, Timber, and Saka has to be better. They have to pass the ball a little bit faster, you know, create those passing lanes, try to be more assertive when it comes to how you attack Tottenham. Sideways passes, yes, of course, but you have to look for those vertical passes, like just right now, Yet another long free kick, although this time for a little bit deep. But what Tottenham is doing is that they're breaking down, the speed at which the game is being played, because the goalkeeper is taking all his time coming to the ball, looking to break down whatever rhythm Arsenal is trying to build. You see how now Merino is moving. Arsenal is basically vacating, that false nine, you know, that position where the center forward actually operates. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. That's where it's going to get tricky, because I think Tottenham has been making some mistakes, like trying to come out from their defensive positions, especially from back, playing into midfield and to attack. Sometimes they go long because they know Arsenal is actually pressing. That was the only opportunity of the game. 3 minutes in, Rice going in and big save by the goalkeeper. One, two, three. So Tottenham, you see how they're defending? They got five at the back, five at the back. It's not really deep right now. It's like a mid price. However, Arsenal has to be more creative in these, situations. The runs, okay, like the one Fury is actually trying to make right now. That's where Arsenal can actually try to hurt this team. Kudos. You see kudos? Yeah. They have to be fast. Ali, turning defense into offense, you have to be fast. Try to catch Tottenham, off balance when they are not set defensively yet. That's how you have to try to, counteract, the way Tottenham is actually playing. Ooh, I think Romero keeps him onside. Ooh, opportunity there. Good defending. Good defending by Tottenham. That's where you have to put pressure. You have to put pressure on Tottenham. You know, it's 30 minutes. You know, apart from the opportunity, within 3 minutes, 4 minutes of Rice, nothing much. Tottenham is still comfortable defensively because everything has been in front of them. That's the fourth time the goalkeeper is coming out of his box to take a free kick. The long throws. The long throws. It's become a thing this season, right? You see a lot of teams actually using those long throw ins, free kick opportunities, you know, and make other teams actually defend. So Danso is the expert for Tottenham. I think I've made this argument, right? I've made this argument before that Arsenal needs to be more creative in the holding midfield position. Zubimendi a little bit different than what Thomas Partey used to be. A lot of people argue with me. A lot of people don't agree with me. They think Zubimendi has been, has been an upgrade, which I don't actually think. So I think he can do the job. We can actually win the league with him. However, for me, he's not been an upgrade. My boy Mumbalingwa, man. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Yet another free kick for Arsenal. Let's see what Arsenal can do with it. Last time, from same position, Saka actually went goal bound. This time, I think he just has to float the ball second post, just underneath the crossbar, and see if a player can actually runs and try to get a flick, But make sure that you hit target. Ooh, that was even better. Straight to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper made a save. That was a better free kick by Saka. He went straight, and anything could happen when you go straight like that. You're looking for a flick from the player, but Califiori was no, he was not even near. I think Saliba was the one that was closest. However, he couldn't get a touch. A little flick, a little touch puts the goalkeeper off. Arsenal's time to have a long throw. Ooh, that one time by Califiori, that was a good ball. opportunity. That was a good ball. That was a good ball by Kai Fiore. Spurs defended it well. I think this is where Spurs can be vulnerable, passing in order from the back. That's where they could be like really vulnerable. When Tottenham is trying to play from the back and Arsenal pressing them, that's where they can be really vulnerable. So far, Tottenham is still comfortable. Everything is in front of them. You know, you see Moreno, he's falling. Also, Zubimendi falling back to reorganize. It's too slow. It's too slow for Arsenal. Okay. Woo, look at that run. Look at that goal. Look at that. Oh, look at that goal. Woo. That's crazy, man. Look at that goal. Look at that goal. Look at the pass from Moreno. Man. Look at Trossard. Look at the finish. Look at the finish. Woo, what a goal, man. What a goal. What do you guys think about that goal? How did this call it? Is it a Rabonda? Did he like? I need to see that goal. Look at Moreno. Look at the pass. Look at the pass. Then I want to see how he scores it. Oh yeah, he just turns and woo! That's some creativity. Look at. Oh, it takes a deflection. Yeah. Look at that. Look at Moreno. Look at the top. Oh yeah. Yep. But he was trying to score on the other side and he deflected to the other side. That was a great goal, man. That was a great goal. And that's how you break that defense. They run, Timber getting into that position, the moving pieces. I've been talking about the movement from the right, Arsenal finally gets the opening goal. Oh, look at that. Pass the ball. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, Eze was asking for the ball. Eze was asking for the ball. I mean, the movement by Arsenal made it all, right? Bentancur and Paulinho, they have been doing good so far. However, the positioning of Timber ran into space and no one was able to actually close him down. Even when Moreno got on the ball. Now, Bentancur and Paulinho had been doing great thus far. However, when Timber gets the ball in the position where he was, no one takes the initiative to actually close him down. He's able to find Merino, and Merino, there's not too much pressure on him as well. But the run actually made by Trossard, to get behind that defensive line of Tottenham, it's what actually creates that opportunity. And then his first touch is as if the ball is getting away from him, but he has that presence of mind where he actually is. And on a half turn, he actually does almost like a 180 degrees or 360 degrees, whatever you call it, and he scores. It's deflected, but if you look at his shot, it was also going on target. However, Arsenal deserves the lead. What do you guys think about the goal, man?
Into space, and no one was able to actually close him down. Even when
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the movement by Arsenal made it all right. Bentancur and Paulinho, they have been doing good so far. However, the positioning of Timber ran into space, and no one was able to actually close him down. Even when Merino got on the ball. Now, Bentancur and Paulinho have been doing great thus far. However, when Timber gets the ball
Whoa, Eze, look at that goal. Look at that goal. I've been talking about Eze. I've been talking about Eze. Eze needs to show up, and he actually show up. It's 2 goals for Arsenal in the space of actually 5 minutes. Arsenal has scored 2 goals. That is interesting. Arsenal is making that statement. They are making that statement. They're making that statement. It was important for Arsenal to score first. They did score, and this second goal just before halftime. Yes, 4 minutes to the halftime. Eze, I know that is his greatest wish, coming from Crystal Palace to the team of his boyhood, of his childhood. You know, you see the clearance, the ball goes back to Eze. Defense is not there, and he. Oh, hold on. Let's see what VAR says. I see a couple of people offside, but no one actually blocking the goalkeeper. He toe pokes it, and the goalkeeper actually gets a hand on it. However, whoa! If they deny that goal, then VAR is really like terrible. If they deny that goal, then VAR is actually terrible. The goal was okay. The goal was actually validated. I think they should remove that thing about the goalkeeper. They should take that thing off, man. Like really. The disadvantage of the disadvantages of defending too deep. Now you see when the ball is being cleared by Tottenham, just because they were defending too deep, everybody was on the left. When the ball recycles, There is no Tottenham player to actually defend that central, you know, part of the field. And that's where Eze is able to receive the ball. He has all the time. Of course, he has to go through one, two players. He toe pokes the ball and he scores for 2-0. 6 minutes in between goals. It's now an uphill battle for Tottenham. Yeah, I said it. Easy, easy, easy. Iberici Eze has just answered Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank was big mouthing him. Eze. He said, now you know my name. Football and the banters, man. We love this. We love this game, man. But it's not over. 2-0 victory. It's not over. Arsenal still knows they have to do the job. They have to do the job. No issue. Tottenham still maintaining their strategy. Long free kicks. Goalkeeper coming out almost at the center half and taking these free kicks. Oh, look at that. He's lucky. He's lucky. That shot was not goal bound with enough space pace to disturb him. Marino and Trossard? Is it Eze and Trossard or Marino and Trossard? What are you talking about? Marino provided the assist. Arsenal kept the pressure on Tottenham for the first half and scored 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes. Now, the dangers of defending too deep, the way Tottenham actually did, and for trying to slow down the game, is that when you defend too deep, the second ball comes around. Well, before the first goal actually came around, Bentancur the disadvantages of defending too deep is that if a team keeps the pressure the way Arsenal actually did in the first half, it's difficult for a team like Tottenham to get out from its defensive positions. After that first goal, Arsenal kept the pressure. We saw the run of Timber into a position where at into a position where Bentacore, who's that? Bentacore and Zubinem. Ay, 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 ay. Let me see what Jenny said here. Oh no, she's an Arsenal fan. Yeah, so it's halftime. It's halftime. So what you guys actually think about the game so far? Tottenham has shown nothing. I mean, coming out from their defensive position, it's been a challenge. So they must actually show something different in the second half in order to get back into this game and be competitive. If not, it's Arsenal actually running away with this one. But the game is not yet over. It's 45 more minutes. Two goals. A two-goal lead is one of the most dangerous leads, in football, depending on how, you come up, you know, mentally into the second half. Your mindset, if you have a change of mindset and start protecting the lead, you might be setting yourself up for failure, especially in this league. Two goals. You saw Arsenal in the space of 5 minutes score two goals. It's because, they kept the pressure on Tottenham and their mindset is kill, kill, kill. So you have to maintain the same mindset into going into the second half. However, for Tottenham, they have to look for a way to get in. They maybe have to change their formation instead of playing that, three at the back. You pull out one central defender, make some changes, and throw more men up front. But again, it's Arsenal, you know, and they are playing at home. 12 men is behind them. And the way they started the game, they are aware, you know, they are aware of the current, I mean, what is at stake. Arsenal came out in this game knowing what is at stake. As I said earlier, it's 3 points. You go 6 points above second Chelsea. You go 7 points against, in my opinion, the immediate challengers, which are Manchester City, and 9 points against Crystal Palace. That's what is at stake. Okay. And you're playing in front of your crowd. Tottenham is coming into this game sitting if they could go into Champions League position. However, we have seen Tottenham as a team that cannot defend. So Eze actually makes his mark today. He's been going back and forth. I mean, let me see. Frank, the coach of Tottenham, said he doesn't know Eze, you know, in an interview. So leading up to this game, banters and all that. Eze has scored. So does he know who Eze is now? And I said, you know, that it was important for Eze to actually make his mark in this game. And he did. Look at the other assist. He could have had an assist with Rice. Well, later on, we'll see how Rice will actually assist Eze, return the favor. And Eze was able to score down the middle. Arsenal with his free kicks. We saw Saka had two free kicks from the same position. The second one was better, where he had to pull a save from the goalkeeper. So Arsenal has been creating opportunities while Tottenham is yet to have a shot on target. Are they yet to have a shot on target? Yeah, they yet to have a shot on target. So they have to change things in the second half. But that second goal again, if you watch the second goal, I mean, the first goal, that's the first goal. They're just showing the replays. Great job from Trossard. Trossard has been immense. I think he has about is he 4 goals now, but he has been immense. Look at the presence of mind of Moreno. Look at that assist. He sees, you know, and he knows where the space is. Wow. That's great awareness. He knows where the space is. And that's your center forward. He's playing as a false nine. So he knows where the actually space is. Presence of mind of, you know, Trossard turning around and finishing 360 degrees, you know. Then the second goal, you see, that's Trossard on the right hand side, you know, immediate pass. Oh my goodness. If that Bentacore who goes down, the way Eze eliminates him is because he's rushing back. Eze eliminates him. He tries to tackle, no one, even Van de Ver. Van de Ver is actually there, but, you know, yeah, I've been talking about the holding midfielders of Tottenham Hotspurs, the way they started well. However, if you see the goal that Eze scores, Bentancur is actually put on his backside because he's actually rushing in order to cover, that midsection of the field. However, Eze says that accelerates, dribble past him, accelerates. Van de Ven tries to block. However, it's a deflection. And Eze scores Arsenal's second goal within 5 minutes of the first goal. So that constant pressure by Arsenal eventually pays off against a team like Tottenham that had nothing going for them offensively. So something has to give for Tottenham in the second half. They have to take more risk in order to try to get back into this game. What are your thoughts? What do you think Tottenham is going to do in the second half? Will they make a tactical Will they make a tactical change? Will they pull out one central defender and maybe bring in an offensive-minded player? Go back as a 4-3-3, or will they stick to their guns despite the fact that they have not been in this game? Yeah, I'm talking about the holding midfielders of Tottenham. On my way to see. On my way. I mean, the movement by art. Don't do that. Don't. So to start the second half, we see that Tottenham has made a tactical change. They're brought in a more creative player, in order to. Does Eze score second? Eze score second. Oh, man. I mean, Eze is putting the sword into Tottenham. Oh my goodness. That's why these managers, you should not talk. You should let the players do the talking, man. Thomas Frank, he said he did not know Eze. Now look at what Eze is doing to him. Look at what Eze is doing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's the depth in squad. Look at Thomas Frank. You said you did not know Eze, right? Oh my goodness. So what's all this matter? What's all this? Yeah, sometimes in football, managers should let the banters and the trash talking, be something of players. I don't know what Thomas Frank was saying about Eze, and now Eze has scored 2 goals just before halftime and just after our halftime. That's critical. Sometimes banters are for fans, players can go at each other on the pitch. But when you see a manager does that, you start asking yourself, okay, what was Thomas Frank saying about Eze? Eze has scored now 2 important goals just before halftime and after halftime. You know, that could be critical. Arsenal is a team that does not concede a lot of goals. They've conceded 5 goals thus far. Last game, of course, against Sunderland, they conceded 2. So how is Tottenham going to find themselves coming back into this game? This could be even a bigger score. What are your thoughts about what Thomas Frank said? And Eze has actually responded, on the field of play. Sometimes battles are for fans, players can go at each other on the pitch. But when you see a manager does that, you start asking yourself, okay, what was Thomas Frank saying about Eze? Eze has scored now 2 important goals just before halftime and after halftime. You know, that could be critical. Arsenal is a team that does not concede a lot of goals. They've conceded 5 goals thus far. Last game, of course, against Sunderland, they conceded. So, what do you guys think about the game so far? How's Tottenham going to get back into this game? Sometimes banters, sometimes banters are for fans, players can go at each other on the pitch. But when you see a manager does that, you start asking yourself, okay, what was Thomas Frank saying about Eze? Eze has scored now 2 important goals just before halftime and after halftime. You know, that could be critical. Arsenal is a team that does not concede a lot of goals. They've conceded 5 goals thus far. Last game, of course, against Sunderland, they conceded 2. So how is Tottenham going to find themselves coming back into this game? This could be even a bigger score. What are your thoughts about what Thomas Frank said?
and Eze has actually responded, on the field of play. This could be even a bigger score. What are your thoughts about what Thomas Frank said? And Eze has actually responded, on sometimes banters are for fans, players can go at each other on the pitch. But when you see a manager does that, you start asking yourself, okay, what was Thomas Frank saying about Eze? Eze has scored now two important goals just before halftime and after halftime. That could be critical. Arsenal is a team that does not concede a lot of goals. They've conceded 5 goals thus far. Last game, of course, against Sunderland, they conceded 2. So how is Tottenham going to find themselves coming back into this game? This could be even a bigger score. What are your thoughts about what Thomas Frank said? And Eze has actually responded, on the field of play.
That's a tough tackle. That's gonna be under normal circumstances. That's a yellow card, man. That's a tough tackle. Oh, yeah, I see. I see why he says mic was unplugged. The mic was actually on mute. So let me actually see what. Okay, that's Chrome. Trossard has just been amazing, amazing player for Arsenal. Look at Eze. Look at the movement. Look at another pass. Normally, you see those are the type of passes you see a guy like Odegaard. You see, that's what Arsenal needed, but I think they made that change for more creative players to come in. Now you see with Xavi in, Odegaard is actually making the runs and pulling fouls, in Arsenal, up high in Arsenal on half of the pitch. But I think that would be just a little bit too, that's like a little bit too late, right? A little bit too late. Because now they are 3 goals down, and it's going to be a long hill to climb, You see, even a guy like Kudu, who is more creative, he's been having the ball like with his back to the defense, more like running towards his own goal with the ball. That's not where you want to have. You want Kudu to have the ball. You want him to have the ball in more like offensive stance, But he's having the ball deep in his own side of the pitch. Then it's actually difficult. The movement is just better by us now. Oh, okay. Arsenal has scored. I mean, Tottenham has scored. How did that happen? Okay. Let me see that. Let me see. Yeah, protecting the ball and look at the goalkeeper. Look at the goalkeeper. Yeah, 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 yeah. You have to protect the ball. Look at where the goalkeeper is. Like you see, they are chasing him. You have to be backpedaling already. That's easy. I mean, that's on the goalkeeper. That's you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. You let them score that type of goal against you. You know, yeah, that's on the goalkeeper. You see your player is under pressure. You see the player was under pressure. There's a possibility that they're gonna win the ball, and you're careless. That's you have to do better. Now it makes the game interesting. But that's totally on the goalkeeper. Let me see who's easy. Very good player. He plays for Arsenal, a team we want to beat on Sunday. I really like to speak about players who are here. Okay. He said who's easy. So this game actually gets now a little bit more interesting. Because Arsenal not paying attention, you give away a careless goal. You know. So now Arsenal has to be more alert this time around. You see, again, losing the ball, in that position. Losing the ball in that position, you have to protect the ball. That's what's about football. You have to protect the ball. If you don't protect the ball, you're careless with it, you know, they're going to jump on you. And that's what Arsenal actually has done to let Tottenham score them a goal, And I blame that was actually on you know, that was actually on Raya. That's the goalkeeper because you see, Zubimendi is under pressure, being chased by two players. So what are the possibilities that the ball will be taken away from him? It's high. But then you are still keeping a high position instead to make sure that you can actually, be in a position. Or maybe he was thinking that, if he loses the ball, then he has the possibility to close down. But again, it's on the goalkeeper, in my opinion, that was a goalkeeper's goal, But it makes the game now even much more interesting, you know. Good defense from Spence. So as we already see, Tottenham was able to make some changes, going into the second half, bring much more offensive players and going back to a back four, and that has actually created them, lots more opportunity. Although we saw Arsenal go down. No, I mean we saw Tottenham actually go down, another goal. However, that goal by Richarlison actually brings them back, into the game. And they're having like much more opportunities, having like the ball into the box, like the cross that Arsenal just had to defend against, So we've seen a much more open game. We've seen Tottenham creating opportunities, and with Xabi Simons now in, they are much more offensive. I think that's the way maybe Tottenham could have come out in this game, but Thomas Frank was trying to be compact. He was trying to, frustrate Arsenal, something that his team was not able to do. And, that's why we see the game, now an open game, both teams going at it, because Arsenal knows that the person who scores the next goal that's the person who might actually come out with all 3 points or make it a game. Let me put it that way. Woo! That's it. Nah, but that's oh wow. Okay. The ref is actually fair. He's letting the game, he's letting tough tackles, This game is far from over. Believe me. Kudos. Believe me, he's a player. Nah, but come on now. This yeah, but Arsenal players have to know that's how Richarlison plays. You know, that's how he plays. He wants to make this a fight at all. He wants to make this a fight. So you have to be careful not to get into his mindset or into the way he actually plays. So the second half is actually much more. We've seen 2 goals, one from each team. It's more competitive. The second half is actually more competitive. Tottenham actually made that change, offensive minded change. We have seen 2 goals, 1 goal from each side. We saw that goal just after halftime by Eze scoring his second. We know Thomas Frank actually made a statement about Eze. Who is he? And that's why I don't actually like when the reason I don't usually like managers talking about players the way Thomas Frank spoke about Eze is because the players actually on the field, they have an opportunity, to make a difference. However, managers can put their tactics, but players are the one to execute. So I like when players go against each other, but not manager trying to get into the head of a player. However, the second half has been much more open. We've seen 2 goals by both sides. One that came seconds for Arsenal after the halftime, and that was a great goal by Eze, who struck with his left foot. However, Sophie Mata. Who is Eze? Those were the words of Thomas Frank. Although he said he doesn't like talking much about players who are not in his team, but those were his words. And we've seen Eze actually answered with 2 goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. They made an offensive change, pulling one central defender off and then allowing Xavi to come in the game and try to be more offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goal scorer, Richarlison, chasing him down. Raya should be in a state of mind where he should know where his position is. Because as soon as Arsenal loses that ball, he's not able to backtrack. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on, 2-1. Second half is much more interesting. What are your thoughts? So we are just like 65 minutes into the game, and it's 3-1. The game is much more interesting with Tottenham scoring that beautiful goal by Richarlison. And one thing that I like Richarlison is that his work rate is actually good. He's not clinical as a scorer, but his work rate has been actually good. Tottenham has made this a ball game 3-1, and it's game on.
Who is easy? Those were the words of Thomas Frank. Although he said he doesn't like talking much about players who are not in his team, but those were his words. And we've seen Eze actually answered with two goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. They made an offensive change, pulling one central defender off and then allowing Xavi to come in the game and try to be more offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goal scorer, Richarlison, chasing him down. Raya should be in a state of mind where he should know where his position is. Because as soon as Arsenal loses the ball, he's not able to backtrack. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on, 2-1. Second half is much more interesting. What are your thoughts? Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on. Who is easy? Who is easy? Those were the words of Thomas Frank. Although he said he doesn't like talking much about players who are not in his team, but those were his words. And we've seen Eze actually answered with two goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. They made an offensive change, pulling one central defender off and then allowing Xavi to come in the game and try to be more offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goal scorer, Richarlison, chasing him down. Raya should be in a state of mind where he should know where his position is. Because as soon as Arsenal loses the ball, he's not able to backtrack. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on.
So Tottenham has made the game a little bit much more competitive, and Arsenal is actually losing many balls in the midfield, and the transition from defense to us to attack is actually faster. For Tottenham. Is that not the face? Is that not a head injury? That's a head injury. Yeah, he should have stopped it. Michael Oliver has been good. He's kept the cards in his pocket, but you can't go ahead and try to talk to him like that. Well, we know that in football now, those injuries like to the face.
This was my. Who is easy? Those were the words of Thomas Frank.
The ref will
He said he
always
doesn't like talking much about players who are
stop the
not in his
game.
team. But those were his words, and we've seen Eze actually answered with two goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. Who is easy? Those were the words of Thomas Frank. Although he said he doesn't like talking much about players who are not in his team, but those were his words. And we've seen Eze actually answered with two goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. They made an offensive change, pulling one central defender, allowed.
Hey, Maya, stop it. Come on, move out. Come on. Close that door. Thank you.
More offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goal scorer, Richarlison, chasing him down. Ray should be in a state of mind where he should know where his position is. Because as soon as Arsenal loses that ball, he's not able to backtrack. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on.
So, what do you guys think about the changes that was made earlier on by Tottenham? That saw them become like more offensive, made the game Easy. Easy is on a hat trick. Man, who is easy? Hat trick boy. Yep, Arsenal finishes it. Easy scores a hat trick. Every time Easy scores, now they're gonna show Thomas Frank. Trossard has been just amazing. Easy scores a hat trick. Wow. Trossard has been amazing. Give me Easy in Arsenal shirt. Man, you guys use like AI a lot. I'm trying to generate a graphic pic, and I said, give me Easy, and they give me Easy in a Crystal Palace shirt. I'm telling them I need Easy in an Arsenal shirt. Yeah, too little, too late, for Tottenham. I'm happy to see Madueke back. You know, he's a player that was playing well before he actually got injured. So it's always good to see injured players coming back. Is it again? The Eze show. Eze is running the show. It's called the Eze show. Goalkeeper saves this time. North London Derby, EPL, Eze. The Eze show. Wow. First player to score since 1978. Wow. So Eze has scored a hat trick in the. Let me see. Let's review this. Let me see when. For the first minute, 46 minute, and 76 minute. Yep. So you see how difficult some of these games can actually turn out to be. I mean, is a undoubtedly man of the match performance. Yep, I got me a good one right there. Let me see now. Yeah, I was just trying to generate a graphic card and I did generate one. Tottenham is just praying that the game should be over.
Gavi to come in again and try to be more offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see Tottenham, two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goals.
We all get older. There's really nothing we can do about it. When you hit your 40s, hit your 50s, hit your 60s, that doesn't mean you quit doing the things you love doing. It doesn't mean that it won't.
Tottenham is looking to catch a fight instead of playing football.
Who is easy? Those were the words of Thomas Frank. Although he said he doesn't like talking much about players who are not in his team, but those were his words. And we've seen Eze actually answered with two goals, one before halftime and the other just after halftime. However, the second half is much more interesting because Tottenham has come out to play. They made an offensive change, pulling one central defender off and then allowing Xavi to come in again and try to be more offensive. We've seen that mistake also by Arsenal. I think when Zubimendi is on the ball, you see two Tottenham players, actually Paulinho and the goal scorer, Richarlison, chasing him down. Ray should be in a state of mind where he should know where his position is. Because as soon as Arsenal loses that ball, he's not able to backtrack. And that's how Richarlison scores that beauty. And it's game on. Who is easy?
Oh, that's been a great game. You know, yeah, and that's why I've said this constantly, man. Arsenal wins the EPL title for these reasons. They have one of the best. When you talk about depth, in their team, they have a better depth in their team than anybody else. So that's why I've consistently say that Arsenal is going to win the league. Hey, if you can't see that, then it's on you. He's just toying with them now. So Eze actually gets into the record book of this derby. No player has scored a hat trick since 1978. Eze does that today. Amazing. Amazing performance. Man of the match, to say the least. And as I said earlier, this takes Arsenal 6 points above Chelsea, 7 points above Manchester City, which I think is a direct contender. So this is what we've been talking about when we talk about Arsenal being the favorites. They have the depth, they have players that can come in and defend. Hey, would you have noticed that a leader like Gabriel, was not present in this team? No. It's because of the formation, the way they actually play, the way they understand their movement, the way they attack, put pressure on teams, make teams uncomfortable, and the way they maintain that pressure. I think tactically, Tottenham, did not come out, they come out too negative. They came out too negative. When you come out too negative, Arsenal hits you. It's difficult to turn things around. The hat trick hero, Eze, no player has been able to do that in a derby since 1978. Eze does that today. Well deserved, well deserved. And as I said, the changes made by, Tottenham going into the second half. Yep.
Who is easy?
Yeah. So I mean, what do you guys think about the game, right? I can let me go ahead and give a little recap. The way Arsenal actually started, putting Tottenham under pressure. Tottenham playing with three central defenders, staying deep, could not maintain the pressure. And I've spoken about Trossard. Trossard is just a player on another level, this year, making key decisions, making key runs. And Moreno was able to find him.
Who is easy?
And when Moreno actually found him, he was able, in the presence of mind, where he was and all that, his first touch, it was as if the ball, the touch had taken the ball away from him, but he was able to turn around, 360 and score that goal. That was creativity, and Spurs unable to defend against Arsenal in that moment. Second goal comes 5 minutes after, and it's all easy. And this time around, Spurs was focused on that left hand side. And when they actually cleared the ball, defensively made a defensive clearance, the ball actually fell on Declan Rice. And Declan Rice was actually in a position where he could pick up Eze freely. And then Eze did everything else, and it's that hunger And in my opinion, that's why for me, I don't like when managers actually attack players directly because you saying who's easy, then trying to backtrack. I said that he's a nice player, he's a good player, this, that. And you go on saying that you like talking about players in your team. However, you already spoken about the player in the other team, which is Arsenal. The other team that you're gonna play on Sunday, Eze has all that energy. He's able to put Bentancur, on his backyard and score that goal just before halftime. The timeline of events is very important in football. And after halftime again, they have a lucky bounce. Timber gives him the ball, and he's able to find that perfect angle to put the ball where the goalkeeper cannot actually make a save. That hunger, that's why managers, you are on the touch line. When you say these things, you cannot get on the field and play. You're attacking a player, and the player comes out and score a hat trick. So what are you gonna say? He's hungry. Then we see that mistake by Raya because yes, for me, although Zubabeni is the one who loses the ball, as soon as you see two players attacking, pressing Zubimendi, you should awareness should kick in. So he's not able to backtrack as soon as Richarlison is on the ball and Richarlison scores that beauty. So it's game on, but it doesn't last for long because Arsenal will not sit back and defend. Arsenal knows Tottenham is vulnerable. Then we see, you know, Izzy scoring that fourth goal that puts Tottenham to bed. As I've said before, coming into this game, Gabriel was injured. A lot of people talking about, but Arsenal has the players. You know, those who watched the game today, you can't tell that Gabriel was not there. The energy that Arsenal actually came out and played. They understood the assignment and they jumped on Tottenham. Well deserved winners by a score of 4 goals won. Thanks for all those who actually tuned in to watch. And I'm trying to make this thing interactive. We're gonna find a way. We're gonna keep pushing. But please subscribe on my various channels and make sure that we actually I'll make sure that we can actually, bring, our analysis to you, the way we or the way I actually consume football. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Stay blessed.